I'm Diane Sare, and I am a LaRouche independent candidate for U.S. Senate for the state of New York. I'll be challenging Chuckie Schumer in the 2022 elections. And I'm joined here today by Daniel Burke, who is a candidate for U.S. Senate in 2020 in New Jersey against Cory Booker. And I'm going to let Daniel tell you why we're here today.
Thank you, Diane. We're standing here in front of Federal Hall on Wall Street in Manhattan, just across from a symbol of the treason of Wall Street. And we're here because there is an absolute need to act upon the statement on the sign behind me. While Wall Street has been receiving at least $5 trillion up to $10 trillion in support from outrageous unlimited QE, essentially money printing, the people are being starved. We're being starved of economic activity, of real new economic production to be created through great projects of infrastructure and especially through the development of a world health system to defend the people of the world from this pandemic. We're here to discuss with you the idea of 1.5 billion new jobs for the entire world, productive jobs, which is the subject of a report soon to be released by the Schiller Institute.
The ugly truth of the current situation is that the economic collapse was well underway before COVID-19. That's what no one wanted to talk about. As early as September of last year, the New York Federal Reserve had to begin overnight lending repo loans to the tune of $75 billion a night because the banks had lost confidence in each other and were not willing to lend each other the money to make their overnight payments. So it's been very convenient to blame the collapse on what's happened to our economy with the COVID-19 shutdown, but this process has been underway at least since 1971 when President Nixon decoupled the U.S. dollar from gold. And what's been occurring is a hyperinflationary bailout of a bunch of bankrupt speculative garbage at the expense of the average American person. And the way that you can see that is when the COVID pandemic hit the United States, we were woefully underprepared. We did not have hospitals. We've shut down dozens of hospitals right here in New York City. We did not have adequate infrastructure. Our food supply has been savaged by mega cartels while the family farmers are being put out of business.
Let the American people not act like pigeons trying to pick up the crumbs left behind by Wall Street. It won't work. Reject the policy of allowing the Federal Reserve, the central banks of the world, to continue this outrageous support of the speculative bubble. Don't let Larry Ratfink, the head of BlackRock, run the world's economy. That's a recipe for mass death. Instead, what we are really needing at this moment is the exoneration of Lyndon LaRouche and the execution of his 4 laws to save the U.S. economy and really to be applied in every nation. We must go back to the Glass-Steagall standard such that we reject the notion that any government is required to bail out worthless assets of Wall Street, worthless gambling debts. No, real assets have to do with increasing physical production, and we need national banking institutions in every country to be able to extend that credit, and credit that will be allocated through international credit vehicles. Perhaps $125 trillion could be dedicated to developing the necessary economy for the world so that no person has to live in poverty and no person has to be unemployed. If we initiate steps in this direction, we will be building the most beautiful new platforms of infrastructure like high-speed rail across the United States, nuclear power, and ultimately we'll be dedicating ourselves to discovering new principles by which we can dominate increase our domination over the natural world, our ability to exploit our understanding of the universe, to advance humanity, and to develop the entirety of the universe. And that's going to be done through a approach upon fusion power and the absolute need to expand our space exploration capabilities. So these are steps that are actually the character of a new paradigm. There's a fight in the entire world to get these things done. And in the United States, you can work with LaRouche PAC, and you can work with my campaign for U.S. Senate and Diane's campaign for U.S. Senate to make this a reality.
So in conclusion, to be very clear, we are here to tell the truth. Wall Street is bankrupt. The City of London is bankrupt. They are rotting corpses, and no matter how much liquidity you try to pump into their veins, you are not going to wake them up. The more the bailouts continue, the more you're looting the real economy. What we need to see, and the reason we have these flags here, is that the United States, together with the nations of Russia, China, and India, would have the power to circumvent the City of London and to establish a new credit system, a new Bretton Woods system, where we write off this garbage, we go back to fixed exchange rates, and we allow low-interest, long-term credit to develop the world. And we are asking that everybody join us in this endeavor, demand that the Congress reinstate the Glass-Steagall Act, visit the SchillerInstitute.com website and add your name to the petition for a global health system. And don't be fooled. Don't be intimidated by Wall Street, and don't worship money.